Hi, everybody.
Welcome. Hi,
Hi
everybody.
everyone.
Hi.
Welcome to
Good,
our monthly music club for the
good
month
morning.
of March.
Hey, this is our second installment. We kind of had our soft launch of the monthly music club in February, and we're really excited to kind of kick it off with a little more excitement and energy even than last month, this month, with our two guests who we'll get to shortly. But I think we had a couple announcements we want to be sure to make here.
Yeah,
Um,
Allison, I think we wanted to be sure to introduce ourselves because that seems to be something we always forget. So I'll start by introducing you. This is Allison Reed, our editor of Harp Column magazine.
And I will in turn introduce you, Kimberly Rowe. Kimberly is one of our founders and also the web editor of Harp Column. And then also here today we have Liana Alpino. Liana, say hi to everybody.
Hello.
Liana is our managing editor of Harp Column Music. So she works really closely with all of our artists who have music that you all are playing this month and downloading from Harp Column Music. So thank you all for being here today. Um, Another thing that we wanted to do was to remind you that Harp Column Music is not all we do. We also do Harp Column Magazine. And the current issue is available online right now, the March April issue featuring Joel von Lerber, an amazing Swiss harpist, and lots of fun features and news and opinions and lots of information there. So you can go download that right now if you are not already a subscriber. Um, and what else do we have, Kim?
I think that's it. Um, I think we can move on to introducing our guests. So we have with us the composers of our two monthly music club picks of the month, and I'll just briefly introduce them, and then we'll talk a little bit more to each of them. So first we have Amanda Whiting, and she is here from Wales, and Amanda composed our pedal harp pick, "Spring on the Taff." And then we have with us from Sicily, Fabio Rizza, and he is the composer of Tarantella, our lover heart pick of the month. So we are just so happy to have you guys here to talk a little bit more about your pieces. And if anybody out there in the listening, if you have questions about these pieces, give us a heads up in the chat, and we can work you into the lineup here with your questions. Allison, I think, would you like to start by telling us a little bit more about Amanda?
Yeah. So if you read Harp Column, you might be familiar with Amanda. She's written one of our she's written for a lot for us in the magazine. She's on Harp Column Academy as one of our master teachers there. She specializes in jazz and improv and always works that into her arrangements, which is really fun and enjoyable. Amanda teaches at the Royal Welsh College of Music and Drama. And we got a chance to hear Amanda in person last summer. Actually, last spring too, a couple times last year, and just really enjoy her style. It's really accessible and fun. So, Amanda, I was wondering, could you just start by telling us a little bit about Spring on the Taff and how this piece came about?
Well, firstly, it was lovely to see you last year and hang out. That was really nice. But yeah, it's well, jazz. I'm a classical harpist to start with, like all of you. And jazz was always something I wanted to play, and I couldn't get into it. So I've been trying really hard to make it accessible, as you just said, to everybody and not scary. So when I write pieces, I try and just leave an optional area if you're feeling brave enough to just have a little go. So all of my pieces have that element of it as well, but they're also, you can play them without that. So there is that space in this piece for improvising if you want to, okay? So not to be scared. So the piece is called Spring on the Taff, and I live in Cardiff, a little bit north of Cardiff, where there's loads of mountains, and there's the River Taff, and it's such a beautiful place, honestly. Wales is beautiful. We have waterfalls. It's very green, lots of sheep, and it's just coming into spring now with the crocus and the daffodils. I'm not sure if you're aware, our national flower is the daffodil, and we've just had March the 1st, which is our patron saint's day. So spring is springing and it's getting lighter, which is lovely. So this piece is perfect for this time of year. Also, it's just been put onto the Associated Board syllabus for grade 7, which is superb. So jazz on the Associated Board, I never thought I'd see it. So this is great news. And I wrote this piece, as I usually write them, trying to get a lovely warm sound out of the harp. That for me is everything, that lovely luxurious, if you play a chord, I want it to be, the harp to ring, to really, and I wrote it in lots of flats as well. So it's really in its most resonant key. We go from A flat major to C flat major to G flat major. And yeah, so there's a lot of juice to get out of the harp. I use lots of patterns as well, which I can, do you want me to talk about that now or later?
Sure, go for it now. Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Yeah, okay. So just going through it, there's lots of tricks, but lots of things you can kind of, like the opening bars, just the opening bars, there's E, C, B, A. Well, the left hand's doing the same as well. They're the same chord, but one's playing it as a chord and one's playing it as a linear kind of line. And if you go through, there's on the second page, bar 31, there's this kind of shape as well, which goes on for about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bars, 9 bars, that same shape. So look for the patterns in the music. It just makes it a lot easier. I play around with them. I split them into chords and I split them into rhythms. Rhythm is huge. We all know that. But in jazz, it's taken me a long time to work on my rhythm, to try and keep the beat nice and strong. So if you can take this one chord and try it in different permutations, in semiquavers and triplets and quavers, how do you say that, 16th notes, 8th notes and triplets, and just keeping the beat. So we keep the beat and we just practice. So even without a harp, you can practice this 1 and 1 E, da, 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 da. Go around the house doing that. Keep the beat, but just try and get different permutations of rhythms. That's so important. And this piece has a lot of that on it. So hopefully it'll help with the rhythmical approach towards things. And the improvising section, well, it's 2 chords. So if you look at bar 71 and 72, there's 2 chords. They're in G flat major, which sounds very, very scary, doesn't it, really? It's not. So if you put your harp in G flat major, if you have a harp there with you, and if I count the second chord in G flat major is the A flat chord, isn't it? If I count up again, the 6th chord is the E flat chord. So the improvisation is just between those 2 chords. So it's just between the A flat chord and the E flat chord. Start, if you're not very positive with improvising, just start with 1 note. Just start with 1 note. Then if you feel a little bit more adventurous, add another one in. Just build it up. Steal something out of the piece of music. If you look up above, that's what the tune is. Change the rhythm. Just change it around. No one can judge you on improvising. That's one of the reasons I got into jazz. No one knows if it's right or wrong, right? So you can play whatever you like. The more advanced you get, the choices you make are what makes it sound maybe a little bit better. But really, you can play what you like. So some notes work better than others. On the music, I've written down which notes might sound the nicest in that area. So it might be A, C, D, and then you've got that little pedal slide in there if you want to be a bit jazzy, rock it out a bit. But I've given you the notes that are going to sound the best. So you can't really go wrong, can you? It's like cooking a cake. If you've got the ingredients, how bad can it go? It can't. So give it a go. But the piece is just meant to be light. It's meant to be airy. It's meant to be fun. So just try it out. I know Annette has sent me a video of her doing it on the lever harp, which I was like, what? How have you managed that? I think she's brave. So yeah, Annette, thank you for sending that to me. It's amazing. Yeah, so give it a go. Lever or pedal, see what you can do with it. So I hope if there's any questions on it, I'm all yours.
Thanks, Amanda. Thanks so much. Yeah, if anybody has any specific questions, if they're working on the piece and they have any specific questions, throw them in the chat right now. Sounds like we have some fans of your music in the chat, Amanda. People really like your stuff. One question I have every time I hear or see or play something new of yours, I'm struck by how you come up with these catchy tunes. So I'm just curious, like, do you have a formula? How do you do this? How do you come up with these ideas for these motifs that you use?
Oh, for the tune or the harmonies?
Either, I guess.
Um, uh, Harmony. I love harmony. I think as harpists, we have such an amazing instrument for richness of tone, and the quality of it is immense. And I think when you get your head around if you're in a key on your feet, it throws up lots of possibilities to you. But it's like a barbecue. If the harp's in the right key, there's so many things available and they're all going to sound nice. So if you've got that lovely start of nice chords, then you just kind of fill in the gaps with a tune and try and if you sing it. So improvising, a lot of things help. One of the biggest things for improvising is to sing. So you might watch Thelonious Monk on the piano or something, and he's playing along, and he's singing along with himself, right? And he may look a bit mad, but he's coming up in something in his head, a line through these chords. He's trying to find a way to work through them. So the chords are giving you the information you need. So say you have an A chord. Well, the notes of the chords are great notes to use for a tune. So if you're going to improvise, start with the notes of the chord because they're going to work, right? They're going to sound good because they're in the chord. So I find a catchy melody is usually using sort of the chord tones and repeating things. None of us like to repeat things. It's like, oh, everyone will be bored if they hear that again. But actually, as humans, we love to hear it again because then it becomes familiar. And there was this pop artist, I can't remember his name, but he did a concert and he said, I'm going to play my new album, and everyone booed. They didn't want to hear it. And he said in the second half, I'm going to play you something you all know. And he played the album again. And it's true, right? If you play it again, people have already heard it. They recognize it. They like it. They're more familiar with it. So if you have an idea, say it a few times. Don't be scared to say it again. I think we all want to move on and say something new all the time. And especially because our fingers work for us, so we can end up rambling. I'm really guilty of it. So I have to stop. And if I sing a tune, and if I know if it's a good tune, if I can remember what I just played and say it again. So think of that. Try and sing it. Try and remember what you've just said.
Amanda, I wanted to jump in and let people know that we had picked. This is Kim. Sorry, you probably can't see me. We had picked out Spring on the Taff because it was a little bit of a challenge for people. But this is definitely one of your trickier arrangements that you have with us on Harp Column Music. But I wanted to let people know that you have a lot of much more simple, I guess I'll say, tunes, and they all have sections where you can practice your improvisation. So if this one was maybe a little bit too much of a challenge, you could look for some other options. And also your Harp Column Academy videos are all very much geared towards learning how to improvise. So that would be a really good start if people want to
Yeah,
learn
definitely.
more.
I mean, when I first started college doing jazz, I cried all the way home. I was just, it was awful. I was like, I can't play my harp. What is this? And I find this with students that you feel very vulnerable when you improvise because you're like, I sound much better than this usually. I can play really well, but why do I sound so awful when I try and improvise? It's a skill, right? So you have to practice it. It's a muscle. It's a skill that you have to develop, and you only do that by doing it by getting over yourself, getting over your own ego as well, right? Because you're not going to sound great when you start all the time, and you're going to play wrong notes, but they're not really wrong. It's so just do it, just do it, and also it helps your classical playing so much because if you understand how harmony works, and if you don't have the fear of um, not being able to get out of a problem, if you can get rid of that fear by knowing you can improvise out of a problem, it takes away the fear of performing. I used to be a really nervous classical player. I was always very scared of forgetting my music. And I think turning to jazz helped me understand how my music works, what the theory is within the music, and if I get into trouble, how do I get out of it? So when I teach in college, one of the things I do, I sometimes change their pedals when they're playing, and then they have to find their way out of it. So do they know what key they're in is very important, and can you improvise your way out of that in the style of the music you are playing? So it's a great training of how do I get out of trouble. But that's not that
I'll
that's
admit I'll admit that that sounds terrifying to me.
Yeah, I'm glad you're not my teacher, Amanda.
I know, but when they get past that and they realize they can just keep going, and oh, I'm in A minor, fine, all right, I'll just play something in A minor, and I'm not scared of improvising out of it. Then they can get back to this, where they need to be and be happy and move on with the piece, rather than stopping or having a meltdown or anything. It's like it's okay. I'm just in A minor. I'll just noodle here till my brain comes back to me. So improvising is vital for everything. I think it's helped me massively. I know that.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
thank you so much.
Hope I haven't
Yeah.
scared anyone.
No, I think you've given us a lot of really good things to go home and work on. So thank you so much, Amanda. It's great just hearing more about, the inspiration for the piece and your tips on improvisation. I think
Yeah, you can play it without the improvisation. It works really nicely. In fact, in the associated board, it's not including the improvisation on it. It's just play it as it is. So yeah, don't let that get in your way. But if you are going to learn it, just kind of have a go at it, just to see what you can come up with. You might be surprised.
great. Well, thanks, Amanda. I think we are going to move on and talk to our second guest, Fabio Rizza. And as I mentioned, if you're just joining us, Fabio is coming all the way from Sicily, Italy. And Fabio has had music with us at Harp Column Music for quite a while, but we didn't really know him in person until in January. He was part of our practice challenge, and he joined us. So if you were in on that meeting, you might remember Fabio. And so we wanted to invite him back. And Fabio, when you were here for the practice challenge, you mentioned your piece Tarantella, and how you had composed it for a solo concert in Italy, or I'm sorry, in Tokyo. And that's the YouTube recording we have featured at Harp Column Music, which is just really fabulous. I've watched that now, I don't know, 20 times.
Thank you.
Um, so we wanted you to tell us a little bit more about the piece. How did it come about?
Sure. Yes, it's like the continuation of the last time I talked about this concert in Tokyo. It seems like I always talk about this concert, but it was very important for me because, as I told last time, I absolutely love Eastern culture. I had the chance to go there in the year 2017. And in that year, I lived in Bologna, in the north of Italy. But I studied in Parma, another city where there is the conservatory. I studied with Emanuela degli Esposti here. He's a well-known harpist, and she's a very kind person and a good teacher. But that year I preferred to move in Bologna, and it was very difficult for me because I lost my scholarship. And because if you move too much far from the place where you study, I didn't know, and you lose your scholarship. So I had to work a lot, and I was in this weird situation, and I put the music inside. Um, the idea behind Tarantella Born was that I had to go there in Tokyo. And I already decided to play Akiko, the Japanese piece I composed. But I also wanted to play something more Italian, to bring there the spirit of my place, the place where I live. I'm from Sicily, from the south of Italy. Tarantella is a typical dance from the south of Italy, and not only Sicilian, but also from Naples, Campania, another place in Italy. And it's not easy to play this piece for lever harpists in general. In that period, in fact, I studied Posse, Willem Posse, very hard studies for the pedal harp. The third study of Willem Posse, that is something like all with the fourth finger and the third. In fact, Tarantella has a lot of this movement of the first, the thumb, and the fourth.
Fabio, unfortunately, we're not
Yes.
hearing your audio when you
Okay.
play. I think because
Okay.
maybe you're going through your headphones there.
Yes, with Zoom. So there is a lot of posts in this piece. But also I was inspired by Pinto. I don't know if you know it. This harpist in the 9th century composed the Tarantella inspired by another man Tarantella in the second sonata. You can find it
I'm not familiar. Allison and Liana, have you heard of this composer?
at the end of the second sonatina of Naderman. There is a Tarantella, and Pinto, this
Oh,
harpist
okay.
too,
Okay, yeah.
the
Okay.
Tarantella.
Okay.
So I decided to play these two pieces in that concert in the 2017. I was very thrilled because it's not easy to play, but I had a lot of fun, and today I like to play this piece. Daniele
It's really
Garella,
fun to play.
yeah, I have a lot of fun. I usually don't play my pieces very much. I don't know why. I don't like to listen to my music. But Tarantella it's fun for me to play.
Fabio, I have a question that has
Yes.
nothing to do with the music, but I'm just very curious because I keep looking at this. I keep looking at the music, and how did you pick that cover? It looks like it's a mask of some
Cover.
sort.
Okay, I had the idea to have a very simple cover. I don't know why. And my wife, Miriam, that is an illustrator, uh, helped me to do this cover with this mask. I had the picture in my mind. Very simple, something very simple. In fact, also Akiko and another piece have the same mood of color.
That's great. I think Amanda is asking a question. Amanda, do you want to jump in?
I was just wondering, do you have particular scales that you write with, Italian scales unique to the sound you're wanting to get?
In the south of Italy, our mood is always very dramatic. So minor scales, absolutely. With the, I don't know, the seventh grades in English. In Italian, it's sensibile. I don't think it's sensitive. I don't know
A
the correct
seven,
word.
what, dominant sevenths or what's
Like
kind
the in C minor.
harmonic minor? B
Sorry.
natural? B
Yes,
natural?
B natural
Yeah.
in
Okay.
the C minor.
And
Uh,
any particular chord progressions that you like to use in your language?
Not necessary, honestly.
Okay.
Very simple chords. It's more the mood of the scale.
Okay.
And this piece, Tarantella, I proposed it to be published officially by my Stella Mattutina Edizioni is from Florence. Daniele Garella also wrote music by itself. I proposed this piece. He told me, I don't know, this piece is not so much Fabio Rizza style. It's more, it's different because my pieces usually are more new age, something like this, more romantic or atmospherical. This is very different, probably because I had this. Um, I wanted to bring there in Japan something very Italian.
Fabio, how did you
Thank
get
you.
asked to perform in Japan?
Sorry?
How did you get asked to do this performance?
I have for many years a friend there. We met in 2010, so almost 15 years, 16 years. And we got in touch a lot. We changed the sheet music, we wrote emails each other. And she asked me to go there because a friend of her, a singer, were looking for a Celtic harpist, a lever harpist, not a pedal harpist. I don't know why she wanted lever harp there. So she looked some my videos. I used YouTube a lot when I was younger, and so I had the chance to go there.
That's great.
There are some differences between what's written and what I actually played and play of Tarantella, but because there are many ribattutos in Italian when you play the same thing very fast. This is uncomfortable for the harp, I think. So I wanted to show you, but you can listen to it. I cut away the ribattuto. So instead to play E, D, C, B, I simply play E, C, D, E, D, C, B. So I cut away the ribattuto. It's simpler, more simple.
Thanks, Fabio. I asked in the chat if anybody has any more questions for Fabio or Amanda. Anyone out there? I know we've had a couple of people say that they're working on both of these pieces. So that's great. We're glad that everybody is really enjoying our monthly music club. I wanted, before we end this meeting, I wanted to let you all know that we are going to be announcing our April picks. I know what they are, but we're not going to be announcing them until March 27th. If you have signed up, you'll get an email from us, or you can watch our social media. But I will tell you that the next live event date will be April 15th, Tuesday, April 15th. Oh, it looks like we have another question for Fabio. Any tips on coordinating the tapping at the beginning of the Tarantella?
My advice is absolutely to start not fast because it's very dangerous, firstly. And study it very slow and with separated hands, and after try to get together the two things as like any other part of any piece. So start slowly and try with separated hands, and after together. Very simple advice.
Great. Good to know. Well, I would like to encourage anyone. Let's see, do we have any more questions here? I think we don't. So I'm going to give a very big thank you to Amanda and Fabio for joining us today. And thanks to all of you for coming. We're really excited to keep this monthly music club going. And if you have any suggestions for us, don't hesitate to email us at info@harpcolumn.com. And like I said, you can keep an eye out on March 27th for the next picks, or April picks. And thanks, everyone. Have a good day, a good month, and happy practicing.
Thanks to you. It was a pleasure. Bye, everyone.